Happy New Year, Earrings Off family. 2025 is here. In this episode, Lou and I look back on the lessons of 2024 and set our sights on all the possibilities ahead. What did 2024 teach you? What are your biggest intentions for 2025? Continue to listen as we share our own reflections, personal goals, and some exciting updates about what's coming this year for Earrings Off. This is a good one, y'all. Stay tuned. So much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Happy New Year, partner. How are you doing?
I'm great. Can you believe it?
I
Happy New
cannot.
Year.
It's a new year. And Happy New Year to our Earrings Off family. Well,
Yeah.
we've been on hiatus. We took some time off in December and we're back. And we're excited about the new year. 2024 was a whirlwind. So many highs, lows, and lessons learned. But we are ready to embrace everything this new year 2025 has in store. And we're going to start it off right at this time. We're going to reflect a bit so that we can set the tone for what's ahead in this new year.
So, what are some of your biggest takeaways from 2024?
One thing that sort of stood out for me, Teresa, was the importance of community. Whether it was here on the podcast or in our personal lives, I was reminded how essential connection is. For example, oh my goodness, after the election, like many people, I was in shock a bit. I was deflated. I was concerned. I felt anxious. What happened was I didn't really feel like engaging with people, but I had a dear friend who was going to a luncheon. She'd asked me previously to go to it, and I thought, my schedule wouldn't allow it, but my schedule changed. And so at the last minute, I said, remember that luncheon you invited me to? If you still want, I can go. And she was like, of course. And Teresa, I tell you, when I went to that luncheon, it was just what the doctor ordered, because being in the community around other people, particularly around other women who had the same concerns I had, facing the same challenges, it was just good to take a pause and exhale a bit and realize that we're stronger as a community and we can lift each other up and we can survive anything. And our history as a people has shown us that. So that's what stood out to me about the importance of community in 2024.
That's good, Lou. For
Yeah.
me, it's resilience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there were so many challenges, in 2024, personal, professional, and just in the world at large, like you mentioned, the elections, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to say they taught me to dig deeper, trust the process, keep moving forward, but that's something I'm still working on.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'm a work in progress.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we all are.
2024, I mean, you alluded to it, right? It ended with a kick to the gut, right? I
Yeah.
must say, though, that our podcast has been a huge part of my process of being resilient. And it
Yeah.
helped, I guess in the same way as you mentioned, but I didn't think about it. It's community for me.
Yeah.
We've shared so many conversations with our community, our Earrings Off family, that
Yeah.
that I've used to help keep me grounded.
Well, you
Um,
know what? I'm telling you, I'm right there with you, partner, because we started this podcast and thought that it would be of value to the community for us to not only share our lessons learned and what we've been through, but also to bring in others who have expertise and knowledge and life experiences who were willing to share. And so we thought it would be a benefit to the community, and it has turned out to be the biggest benefit to both of us because it's helped us in times to grow, to learn, to bounce back. I'm remembering an episode that we did with Janet Sherlin where she talked about being adopted from her vantage point of having gone through that. And we hear about adoptions and we hear about families being so excited about having a new addition to the family and the extended family community is excited. But what she talked about was her search for identity. And I tell you, I will just not forget her words about feeling like even when you go to a loving family, you still sort of feel like you're an outsider, even though you have a family that's doing all they can to make sure that you feel comfortable. You still know that that's not your biological family. And her being free enough to talk about that educated me a bit about being more sensitive and not just thinking that I know the whole story when there are so many different levels to the experiences that people experience as we go through life. So that was really
that was that conversation was very eye-opening because it's something that I'd never given thought to, right?
right, right.
Right. And that was quite a conversation. So
It
Janet
was.
searching for identity. Check that one out, folks. It was a good one. I was thinking about forgiveness. Do
Oh
you
yeah,
remember Catherine Giovanni and her
yeah.
approach to forgiveness and
Yeah.
how she broke it down so simply? It's not for the person who offended you. It's for
Right.
you, and you can forgive them and not necessarily allow them to be in your life. You know what I mean? Or
Well,
you can forgive a process. That's what I've been using, the process of, the whole elections. I'm like, you can forgive it, just so that you can get past the hurt and move on, right?
Well, what was so valuable in that conversation was that we hear everybody saying you should forgive not so much for the other person, but for yourself. But she was able to give us some steps through the process. And
Yes.
that was just what's so helpful. So that is one I definitely encourage our listeners to listen to Catherine Giovanni's episode on forgiveness. But Teresa, another one that stood out for me. You and I, when we talk about subjects for the podcast, we always try to make sure that we're not offending people, that we're bringing valuable information, and bringing in a way that people can hear it. And for me, another episode where we demonstrated that was our one on hair relaxers, because it's easy for
Ah,
people to say, well, they're both natural, and so naturally they believe in that, and that's something that they would encourage others to do. That's just who they are. But you and I both know there was an evolution to get to this point. And when we did that episode where we quoted from research and from very credible sources, which talked about the dangers of hair relaxers, particularly for African American women, the fact that there have been studies on it, it was just important for us to get that message out. We challenge to our listeners not to just hear us, but check it out for yourself. Go to some of the sources and see what you think about the dangers that you may be putting your health at danger as a result of a practice that we've had for years that you think is just part of who we are. It's no big deal when actually it may be impacting your health. And so that was a good conversation.
Yeah, and I think in terms of looking back, we should end right there because it was just that important. Because there's
Right,
so many things that health-wise, I mean, disease-wise, that
right,
can be linked back to those chemicals that we put on our
right,
hair,
right.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that was you're right, that was a very good one. And Lou, that was one of our most listened to episodes for the year. So if
Well,
you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it, folks. It was a good one.
well, it was a good one because Teresa, I tell you, it's 2025, and when I still hear Black women say, I don't work out because of my hair.
Oh
I,
my.
see, that's jarring to me because we're talking about your health. So we've done in 2024, we'll continue to do in 2025 is have some conversations that may not be popular.
Hold on, sis. Wait a minute. You're getting into looking ahead in
Okay.
2025. Save that for a moment. But first, I'd like to challenge our listeners to take a moment and reflect on their own lessons from 2020.
Hmm.
What did they learn? What did you guys learn? What moments of joy, struggle, or growth stood out for you? Tell us about it. You can comment.
Great.
Yeah, we'd love to hear. Comment below, or you can send us an email at info@earringsoff.com.
We would love to hear from you. Teresa, that's a great idea. And folks, we always say that, but please take a moment and shoot us an email and let us know, um, you know, again, like Teresa said, what triumphs, what joys, what challenges, and what you're looking forward to as we get into 2025. But Teresa, let's turn our focus forward. We've talked
Okay.
about reflecting, but what are you most excited about for 2025?
Lou, I'm excited for, and this might sound a little bad, but then again, you know what? I'm taking that back.
All righty.
I'm going to be intentional about me in 2025.
All righty.
Sounds a little selfish, doesn't it?
No, it does not. Mm-mm.
Well, good, partner. Thank you for that because it is. It's very much selfish. I I'm going to be intentional about taking care of me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my well-being, my health, my sanity. And of course, I'm going to be looking out for earrings off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But you know what, Teresa, that's not selfish because I was watching South Carolina women's basketball last night, Don Staley, and they were playing I think Missouri, and the reporter said he'd spoken to Don and said, what she wanted out of her players. And she said, the thing I'm talking to them about now is about being more selfish. And the reporter said, what? The reporter said, I was sort of taken aback because she's telling her players to be selfish and this is a team sport. And what he said was, of course, I didn't say that to her because she's the great Dawn Staley and you don't question her. He said, but then she went on to explain that it requires a bit of selfishness for you to be all that you can be. It requires for you to be able to embrace your gifts and for you to grow. It's sometimes you can't restrict yourself. You have got to go and be willing to be a little bit selfish, no matter how other people may interpret that. But what you're doing, you're trying to make sure that there's enough free space for you to grow. So I thought that was a good message from
I
her.
and what that brought to my mind is that whole adage about, when you're flying and they tell you about the safety and that
Yeah,
you put your mask on first. But
yeah,
what I see in what she said is that when you're selfish, that's really going to force everyone to play at a higher level.
exactly,
Right?
Teresa. Oh,
So
Teresa,
she
look at Teresa, who doesn't even watch that much sports? You got it. Go ahead. Yeah.
I see that in life. I see
Yeah.
that as a, I mean, that just, I mean, I'm getting chills over here just thinking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I said
Yeah.
I was
So
selfish.
no,
It's
that
a
hey,
challenge.
I'm embrace that. But I have to say, for me, 2025 is going to be about expanding.
Hmm.
And I wanna dream big and not only take this podcast series off to new heights. I wanna explore new heights as well. Because I'm in transition. I'm
Yes.
moving. And so for expansion to me, it's not only physical in terms of a location, but it's expansion in terms of my viewpoint. I've got to be open to new experiences. I've got to be willing to sometimes walk through areas that may be challenging, but rather than seeing them as a challenge, seeing this as an opportunity for expansion, for new experiences. I want to have more meaningful conversations, more engagement with our audience, and maybe even have a few surprises along the way. So I'm just excited about the opportunity for getting bigger, for new frontiers. So I'm open. I'm open to that. So yeah.
Speaking of surprises,
Mm-hmm.
should we tease what's coming this year?
Okay.
Just a little teaser.
Okay.
We've got some exciting new segments planned, and we're bringing in guests who are ready to inspire and challenge us in the best ways. Plus, we're working on a special project we
We
can't
are.
wait to share.
We cannot. So we are very excited about that. And it's all going to be so good. And of course, we want to hear from you, our listeners. So what topics, guides, or guests or ideas do you want us to possibly dive into in 2025? This is another opportunity for you to take action, for you to drop us a message on our social media, Instagram or Facebook, or shoot us an email to let us know that what you might want to hear from us in 2025.
Okay, Lou, before we wrap up, let's talk about resolutions, or should I call them intentions? Because you know how I feel about.
Yeah, yeah.
What's one thing you're committing to this year?
Well, I tell you, for me, I'm just going to commit to more joy and gratitude. Um, and I'm saying that because when I referenced earlier the election and the apprehension and anxiety and concerns about what may be coming, the challenges in terms of the government in 2025, it's so easy to get fixated on those kinds of challenges or to get fixated on what you don't want to happen or get fixated on, um, you know, this is not going to be good. And I'm going to challenge myself this year in 2025 to flip the script on that, to focus more on joy and gratitude
I love it.
and to just pause a bit more often and appreciate the little moments, and I'm gonna have to go back, I'm gonna have to go old school. You know how they say, be thankful you woke up this morning.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
thankful that you have food on the table, a roof over your head. I'm going to try to be more intentional about not taking the blessings of life for granted, for being able to share an experience with a partner that I look forward to working with, that we laugh through and we plan through. I'm not going to take these things for granted. Like when the old folks used to say, when I wake up and I'm not in pain, I'm going to embrace that going to look at the sun and enjoy the fresh air because it's a moment, it's moments like those that give you the energy and to somehow maneuver and manage when it's not so sunny. Because then it's like you sort of filled up your tank a bit. You're not running on empty. So that when challenges come, I can know that just as this may not be what I envisioned or even desired, I've survived. I'm still here. I'm going to continue to be standing. And so that's what I want to focus on this year is to just let joy and gratitude be my leading position. Yeah.
In that, Lou, I would challenge you something even harder is to
Hmm.
be grateful for
Yeah.
those days that you do wake up in pain. Be grateful for those days that
Okay.
you have challenges, right?
Hmm.
Sure, you're filling up your tank when things are good so that you
Yeah.
can deal with those, but be grateful in all things.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what we're charged to do. That's
Yeah.
what we're required to do. But you
Yeah.
know, Teresa, that's not so
Easy.
easy.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
not. For
Yeah.
for me, Lou, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's self-care, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually too. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that I'm filling my own cup so that I can keep showing up fully for myself and others.
Oh, I tell you.
So simple,
Yeah.
but it's a
Yeah.
tall order.
Yeah. That's good stuff. And well said, Teresa. So, and to our listeners, we are asking, what are your intentions for 2025? We want you to take some time to think about it, write it down, and share it with someone who can help you stay accountable to your intentions for 2025. Certainly, we encourage you to shoot us an email and share it with us because we would love to hear from you. The great thing about a new year, we get all excited and it's a new opportunity for us to make it what we will. So let's just go out there and live our best lives. And as we said, live with intention, take care of ourselves, and express joy and gratitude for this new year.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, that's it for us today. Thank you for starting your new year with us here at Earrings Off. We're so grateful for this community and can't wait to see what we all accomplish together in 2025.
And with that, though, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow us on social media. Please, let's make this our best year yet together. Until next time,
Take your earrings off and get comfortable.
take good care.